Hello, welcome to Tinfoil Hat News. Video is not for kids as it is news. There is no cussing, there is no cursing. Anyway, long story short, I'll get down to the basic facts of the day. Today, 8th of September, Queen Elizabeth's death has been announced. And it is a very interesting, she died at age, I believe, 97 or 96. Anyway, she had spent her time as a long-reigning monarch and has now passed away. Moving on to other top stories in the news, the special master that was granted to Donald Trump has been appealed by the DOJ to be removed. In light of following actions, the DOJ's actions have been considered very, very much questionable by the American public. Attorney General Merrill Garland faces a lot of criticisms, as well as the FBI facing tons of backlash for the following actions. In the previous past 2 years, Merrill Garland has gone on basically released a statement saying that he will go after parents who go to school board meetings who protest against CRT. And then it was rumored and pulled out in Congress that his son-in-law is the person in charge of creating said CRT curriculum and funding going towards him. Not to mention alone Merrick Garland's other major disasters. The raid ultimately led up to a very heated part in American tension, so much so bad that the rhinos who were opposed to Trump got behind Trump. And because they raided the president's house, kicked out his lawyer, and told him to shut down the cameras, it has created a whole list of questions that need to be answered. One, Hillary Clinton's emails. Why was she let off the hook for destroying evidence? The long story short, this is not going so well. As well as other recent events, the FBI has fired a guy named Tim Tebow, not to be associated with the great NFL player Tim Tebow. But FBI Agent Tebow has been forced to resign and was escorted out of the FBI, as many whistleblowers have came to the House Oversight Committee and explained to him about this man and his actions towards conservatives. With online censorship becoming a big deal, major issues came about, sparking the biggest issue with good old Mark Zuckerberg and an omission he made upon the Joe Rogan broadcast. He had admitted to the FBI that he was told that the Russians would be spreading propaganda and that anything about to discredit Joe Biden or Hunter Biden may be part of Russian propaganda. Joe Rogan said, "The New York Post is the oldest paper. Why would you think that they wouldn't vet any of their information? And you censored them based on something that the FBI said. Very precarious." Well, Mr. Tim Tebow, the one who is very much hostile towards Trump supporters, has been fired. Other big news, Twitter is not doing so well in court as another whistleblower comes out about situation with bots and accounts, including Disney, who explained that Disney said that Twitter has a bot problem. This is after one person came out saying that there was foreign intelligence services operating Twitter and Twitter was doing their bidding. In the recent events of the sales and transactions, Elon Musk had demanded that the transaction be transparent. He wanted to know how many fake accounts are on Twitter. With that getting out to the public, Twitter is facing a very serious loss in the court. Elon may actually have a victory. If the court doesn't respond, then Wall Street will and destroy major tech giants for censorship. With all talks of censorship, accounts that were YouTube accounts that were banned off of YouTube were recently put back on. In fear of retaliation, tech companies are being very cautious. According to Fox News, the Biden administration is currently facing several lawsuits, to include ones regarding Dr. Fauci, tech censorship, and one more. I have to go ahead and read the article. I apologize for that. Going back to things, that is just the news. This current situation, the first topic about the DOJ getting rid of a judge's order to get a special master for the case, is becoming more alarming. In the next week, we have yet to see who or what, maybe even governors or politicians will come back and say, if you don't put a special master, we will consider possible going after Merrick Garland. But nonetheless, the DOJ had violated client lawyer privilege. They very badly displayed if the information was top secret. Well, they did a horrible job. They exposed themselves. Their evidence box to collect said national security information. Anyone who understands about national security information, all national security documentation is to be stored in a strong metal hard container with a lock, and not to be installed or put into anything other than that. Misplacing that type of document is a huge felony. And yes, it could be considered espionage. The FBI, if they supposedly were handling supposed top secret information, could be facing felony charges for mishandling it. You're not supposed to put it in a cardboard box. You're supposed to put it in a locked steel box. And why, in God's name, would they ever take a picture showing the information without properly blurring out some of the labels on that top secret classified information? This is a very dangerous situation, time indeed. But to say that the Biden administration's mishandling of such affairs would be an understatement. As for public trust in the Biden administration, as well as the Democratic Party, it seems to be dropping extremely low, to include news media outlets such as Fox and CNN. Fox, with their apparent 180 turn against Trump, which is beginning to raise a lot of questions. The other things that have come out about the CNN has made a about face and has purged those of the culture of the woke. MSNBC, on the other hand, still remains hardcore communistic ideology, to the point to where they still continually call for acts of violence against those who are conservative. This has pretty much been a very, very trying and dangerous time, especially with the Joe Biden speech in Pennsylvania, with a red backdrop, him raising his fist like this, two Marines in the background, and him saying, "These Trump's mega supporters are a threat to democracy." And what appeared to be something similar to the historical videos of Adolf Hitler when he addressed Germany. Such a visual and optical presence, the perception that this administration has created and its perception to the American public is not a favorable one. And they are going to face many problems, given with their history of failure. Afghanistan should have been the one, but with our energy and other departments constantly under threat, we just don't know how far this extent of their avid failures will continue. The Democrats are facing a very huge problem as they fail to deliver on the safety, and they continue to go about taking away guns from law-abiding citizens, as they were pro-defund the police and have created the highest homicide situations. It's very abstract, but this is what has occurred. In theory, taking away the guns they thought would de-escalate gun violence. In practice, it has not. Many Democrat cities with gun-free zones have made it easier for criminals who were not really going to obey the law to continue to keep the high rise in gun violence going up. Homicide rate in Chicago as well as Illinois being the state with a very strict gun laws, almost to the point they're even stricter than California because, well, California sheriffs don't really like, some sheriff's departments are actually pro-gun. I don't know about Illinois, kind of a weird state. But Chicago itself, being the most gun-free zone city, like Mexico City, has managed to defeat Mexico City in gun-related homicides. As Chicago is not arresting criminals, and they constantly let them go, and the bail reform turned out to be nothing but a great failure. With all that being said, California, we've had a major situation with the rolling blackouts, and this past week, there was an alert about the overstretch on the electric grid. Now people are contacting local representatives in California and demanding who the hell came up with this concept of banning gas-powered engines by 2035, yet we have no way to improve the power grid. Other people have, and in the great debate within the Democrat Party of California, is to bring back nuclear power. They are fearing something very nasty coming out of this whole situation. But that is it for the Tinfoil Hat News. I shall neither bore you nor continue going on with more stories and topics. I just encourage you to be good people, take care of people, don't commit acts of violence, and be nice. We're tinfoil hatters. We're not psychotic, drugged out, pedophile leftists. And with that, good day.